Mike, how you doing? Can you hear me? Good, thank you. Okay. We're going to basically, like I said, I'm going to do this lesson from Jimmy Chapin's book, page 35, The Breakdown. You should have the book and the sheet, correct? And there's going to be some more PDFs coming your way sometime today. We're on page 35, The Breakdown. Hello? Okay. What we're basically working with, the figure that we're working with is the dotted eighth note. If I played the dotted eighth notes, the dotted eighth notes on the snare drum only with one hand, we'd have 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1. So that's the figure we're going to be working with. And that's basically going to be taken between the bass drum and the snare drum. Like I gave you the PDFs on the stick control book as dotted eighth notes, if you remember. All the rights were the bass drum, all the lefts were the snare drum, like 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and that's how he breaks this up. He does a lot of variations. But the way I presented it to you gentlemen was I gave you 12 lines of variations. And in addition to the 12 lines, you have these 10, plus you have a total in the stick control book of 72 lines. Now, the process doesn't happen, in an hour or overnight. It's over a long period of time. What you need to remember is you're playing the ride pattern. 1, 2, 1 E and the 2 E and the 3, 4. Now, I'm going to take the first one. Nice and slow. That's page 35. 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the 4. 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the 4. Now I'm going to break that down. The first move is to play the bass drum and the snare drum, which is there. Get familiar with that. Do it slow and count in 16th notes. I'm going to play it like 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the 4 E and the 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the 4 E and the. Now once you do that 17,000 times, you get familiar with it, you feel it, you want to put the left foot in. The left foot principle is heel and toe. I'm using the heel on the counts of 1, the toe on the count, on 4, 2 and 4. So when I'm counting to 16th notes, the feel, let me just get that off the screen, hold it. This is so sensitive, this computer. What I'm doing, okay, I'm playing who's this? Renzo, how you doing? All right, what I'm doing with the left foot is heel, toe, heel, toe. And I'm counting 16th notes. So I have 1, now the highest should be open, E, and the. Now 2, you close it, 2, E, and my heel's up, and the. Now my heel comes down to open it, 3, E, and the 4. E, and the. And that remains constant. I'm going to play now the bass drum, snare drum, and hi-hat. Okay? Renzo, did you get the PDFs on this? This is Jim Chapin, page 35. Now, I'm going to play the bass drum part, snare drum part, and hi-hat part. 1, E, and play. E, and 1, E, and 2, E, and 3, E, and 4, E, and 1, E, and 2, E, and 3, E, and 4, E, and okay, you have the book, no problem, good. Okay, you're welcome, Renzo. Now, if you have the book, you should. If you just bought the recent edition, he has the disc, he has the CD, and he demonstrates it. He played it on his hi-hat. And actually, it's not for instructional reasons. You know, when you introduce something like this, somebody has no experience understanding what's going on, you don't buy. If you don't have the CD, that's right. You buy the book with the CD. It's not teaching you how to play it. You're hearing how it sounds, which is okay. And some people are extremely talented with that. They can hear something and play it, but they ask them what they did, they have no idea. And then, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but you know, I would say that's not too good, because you need to know what you do, to dissect what you do, to play it slow and make it stronger. Now, I'm going to do line 1 again, but this time I'm going to play the ride cymbal. Now, if you're having a problem with the free stroke, down, a free stroke, down, a free stroke, down, play quarter notes. So I'm going to start the bass drum, the snare drum, and the hi-hat, and then I'm going to add the ride cymbal. I'm going to do the ride cymbal on the count of 1, 2, 3, 4, and I feel good with that. Then I'm going to add the does in there. Okay, so let me start first. 1, E, and 2, E, and 3, E, and 4, E, and 1, E, and 2, E, and 3, E, and 4, E, and 1, E, and that's basically what it is. What's going to help you the most with this, you'll run right through it, if you go through the page I gave you, 1 through 12, the stick control interpretation. You go through that, this is nothing. Okay, play line 1. 1, 2, 3, It's to help you control what you do. That takes care of line 1. Any problems, Mike and Renzo? With number 1? Any problems with number 1, gentlemen? Okay, good. Number 2. As you see, all we're doing, and these are variations from the stick control book, believe it or not. Okay, line 2, breakdown. Bass drum and snare drum. No hi-hat yet. I'm doing it slow, counting 16ths, number 2. 1, E, play. E, 1, E, and 2, E, and 3, E, and 4, E, and 1, E, and 2, E, and 3, E, and 4, E, and feel good with that, like I said, after 1,000,000 times, you need to use a metronome. Tonight I'm going to have the metronome set up. I apologize. I just get all kinds of craziness going on all day, and sometimes I forget a little bit. As a matter of fact, I forgot my water, but that's okay. All right, so now what I'm going to do now is I'm still going to play the bass drum, the snare drum, and the hi-hat. All right, so I'm going to have 1, E, and the, play, E, and the, 1, E, and the, 2, E, and the, 3, E, and the, 4, E, and the, 1, E, and the, 2, and the, 3, E, and the, 4, E, and. Okay, so we got that, then we add the rise cymbal. And the 1 E and the A, I go 1. 1 E and the 2 E and the 3, 4. 1 E and the 2 E, here we go. Now, 1 E and the 2. Now, like I said in the beginning, I don't really teach from this book because this book really is too stiff and does not swing. And it's up to me to make it swing, but how do you make something like that swing, you know, at a slow tempo unless I'm playing a ballad? And even then it doesn't swing. This here is about the mechanics, how the ride cymbal, the bass drum, snare drum, and hi-hat fall together with all these variations or orchestrations or whatever you want to call them. Okay? All right, any questions on line 2, we're good. Line 3, and as you see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm playing just a couple. Line 3 is actually, the interpretation that we did with the stick control book is actually line 2. Remember all the lefts equal the snare drum, all the R's equal the bass drum? If you look at the sheet where it's the dotted eighth note, that's what you see. So it's making it easier for you. Line 3, you have 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the 4 E and. Again, nice and easy. 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the 4 E and the. Now, with the hi-hat, 1 E and the 2 E and. Here you go. 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the 4 E and all together. There you go. Having a little fun there. And all these are the variations of the things that I sent you from 1 through 12. Like I said, the stick control book, you have 1 through 72. All the variations are all the possibilities, and you can make your own possibilities. Then eventually, once you develop the control, you make it as musical as possible. But the dotted eighth note is kind of difficult to make musical because it's kind of stiff. Unless you played a different kind of music, like a rock. One, two, three, and 4. The dotted eighth note, but it's interjected with a string. You know, I saw a video from the other day from 2 drummers who were very visible in the drum community. One I adore, I think he's a great drummer. The other one, I don't know. But then I don't want to say anything bad, so I'm just going to give my take on it. I'm going to make a video demonstrating what occurs with the right hand when you stroke from the wrist, the rebound. And it's something that Joe Morello, how he taught and what he said. And what this gentleman said, that Joe Morello said, was not true whatsoever. And I just don't understand how somebody could be so visible and bullshit. Anyway, all right, 1 through 10. You want me to skip to some and go to tonight's lesson a little bit, or Wednesday's lesson, if you all understand this? Any request, Lauren? Gentlemen? You're laughing at Renzo. Let me just give you some information how I take this. When I first started with Joe Morello, I really didn't know too much of anything. Number 10? Okay, in 1 second, Mike. I have to say this. Joe Morello was, well, besides for everyone, he was an inspiration to everyone. Some guys didn't agree with his technique or whatever. And this all has to do with the molar technique. And here's my opinion on this. Molar is not a technique. Molar is a name of a drummer. If it wasn't because of Jim Chapin, the molar system, as it's called, would not exist. Now, I have to totally respect Jim Chapin, only because, you know, when you study with somebody and he's your idol or he's your mentor, or, you know, if that's the way he played, and then you taught how he taught you, and you labeled it the molar system, and it just took off. So in reality, there is no molar system. There's actually no stone system or Adler system. There's the laws of physics. Okay? When you play the drums, you play drums with your hands. You have drumsticks. Drumsticks are an extension of your hand. Okay? Now, there's scientifically, it's the law of gravity. Let me get the drum pad. Hold on a second, gentlemen. I need to put this out there. I'm sorry, but I'll do number 10 for you in a second, Mike. It's the laws of gravity. I'm not going to get into momentum, speed, weights, and all that stuff. I'm just going to get into the basic concept. I throw the stick down. The stick comes back automatically. I don't throw the stick and release it and catch it like that. That is total nonsense. That is not what Morello taught. Here's what Morello taught. Yeah, your positions, the full stroke, the half stroke, the quarter stroke, they're control strokes. Okay? When you throw the stick down, the stick is naturally going to come back by itself. The only thing that prevents the stick, okay, from coming back is your hand. Now, if you want the stick to come back here, you're receiving the rebound here. I'm not throwing the stick and opening it and catching it. If you catch it, you can't see, I got to get another angle on it. If you catch this, what happens is if you open the hand and close the hand, it's an additional movement that you don't need. And it creates tension. Okay, your hand is faster than the stick, because your stick is the extension of your hand. I throw the stick down, my hand's back to receive it. Now, the fulcrum issue, it depends on the person. He wants to hold it like this from this point. Can you see that, gentlemen? Let me see if I get the turn. I can't, I don't have the switcher on. Or some people hold it like this. to get the middle finger. There's 3 strokes too. There's the positions, there's the wrist stroke, the arm stroke, and the finger stroke. That's all, simple. It's not Moeller this, Moeller that. Moeller was a great, Sanford Moeller was a great drummer. But like I said, if it wasn't for Jim Chapin, there would be no Moeller technique. And that's not Moeller technique, it's the laws of physics. You throw the stick down, she comes back. You don't throw it, release it, and catch it. Nobody does that. If somebody's playing like this, I'm playing half strokes, and I want to play a full stroke. What do? Throw the stick and try to catch it? No way. That is total bad information. And I get upset at things like that. I shouldn't. But, I'm not going to change the world. And if somebody's listening to this, okay, wait a minute. If somebody's listening to this who did that video, I hope they would react and engage with me in that. Because that is total nonsense. Joe Morello did not teach you throw the stick, and then you release it and catch it. That's total nonsense. What do you guys think of that, Renzo and Mike? Then I'm going to get to line 10. So I start to rant and rave. What do you think of that what I'm talking about, Renzo and Mike? Throws you down and catch it. It's totally ridiculous. Joe Morello did not teach that. Mike, this is a live lesson, not a comedy hour. And that's the truth. You would drop a lot of stick. You throw it down and you catch it? That's totally ridiculous. There's certain things that Joe Morello taught for a reason, doing it slow, only because you develop focus and you have a chance to correct the next time you do it. How about you there, Renzo? Wait for your response on that one, Renzo. You should all watch the JoJo Mayer. Well, that's what you can't fight the laws of physics. If you do, you're not going to win. And if you watch JoJo Mayer, his video on hand technique, he explains exactly what I'm explaining to you. And as a matter of fact, I did see JoJo Mayer in clinic, and at that same clinic, there was Joe Morello and there was Mike Clark. Now that's saying a lot for JoJo. He's got a great set of hands. You don't throw the stick and catch it. That's total ridiculousness. You play the sticks, you play the drums with your hands. The stick is an extension of your hand. And you don't go against the laws of physics or gravity or whatever you want to call it, you'll lose. Every reaction is an opposite reaction. I throw it down strong, it comes back quick. But my hand has to be here, and it's from the wrist, not from the arm. And this motion here, it's not a grip, it's a pump. Renzo, where are you? Renzo's writing a book now. Okay. Number 10, Mike, for you. Let me get that out of the way. Number 10. Renzo, I'd like to know your take on that. Okay, number 10, snare drum, bass drum. 1, E, and, play. E, and, 1, E, and, 2, E, and, 3, E, and 4, E, and 1, E, and 2, E, and 3, E, and 4, E, and. Want me to slow that down? Okay, let me slow it down. Number 10. Snare drum and bass drum only. 1, E, and the. 2, E, and the. 3, E, and the. 4, E, and the. 1, E, and the. 2, E, and the. 3, E, and the. 4, E, and the. You're good. You got that, Mike? Up here, 1, 2, 3, 4. You did it for me, all right? It's an unusual one. Renzo, you still there? My friend. Renzo. Okay, any questions? Renzo. Ugh. Come on, what's the matter with this computer? Okay, no questions, everybody good? Tonight at the on my website? Okay, Mike, I guess Renzo left. Guess you don't want to hear it. Okay, tonight on my site, MattPatelloLiveLessons.com, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll basically be doing the same thing, and maybe just a little some hand technique. Yes, I did, Mike. Thank you very much. I still have it in my drawer. I haven't deposited yet. But like what we talked about, everything's going to be okay for you. No problem. Okay, Mike. Okay, Renzo. Okay. I need to get some water. You're welcome, Mike. Renzo, you have a good day, and whoever else is listening and watching. And Mike, you have a good day as well. Take care. You're welcome.